Your program can be built for the right goal and still be wrong for the week your body is actually living. That's why you can train properly, follow the plan, and still feel like your body isn't giving anything back in the mirror or photos. Now, before you change programs, you need to know what your current training is actually asking your body to recover from, and whether that stress matches the result you want next. The mistake is starting with the outcome and treating that as enough information to judge your current program or choose the next one. Fat loss, body recomposition, strength, and shape all sound specific, but from a programming point of view, they're still broad outcomes. They don't tell you what stress your body has already adapted to, what stress is currently resisting, or whether the next phase should create more muscular demands, more neuromuscular demands, more training density, or more recovery room. That's where a lot of smart women get caught. You've trained before. You understand progressive overload, calories, protein, and consistency. You may have worked with coaches before. So when a program has the right exercises, sensible rep ranges, and the right goal written on top of the program, it feels like it should be enough. Then 4 weeks go by. You're still doing the work. The sessions are hard enough. Nothing looks meaningfully different in the mirror though. Your clothes aren't giving you much feedback, and the thought process becomes, what program should I actually be doing now? A good program isn't a goal with exercises underneath it. It's also a decision about stress. If your current training has been heavy, low rep, and close to failure, your body might not need more neurological demand right now. If you've been living in high volume hypertrophy work, soreness, and density, your body might not need more muscular stress, especially if the week is already costing a lot before you train. The program has to respect the recovery cost around it. Before I decide whether someone should move into lower reps, higher reps, more volume, less volume, more density, or a strength phase, I want to know 5 things. 1, the type of stress her current training has been creating. 2, her ectomorph, mesomorph, or endomorph body type. 3, her weekly set numbers. 4, what her previous program prepared her for. And 5, where her performance is trending. If you want to see how this all comes together, I'll show you how we implemented it with Yola towards the end of the video. Now, when those details are missed, you can train consistently and still feel like your program is fighting you. When they're read properly, the work feels hard in the right way. Body composition starts moving again because your program is finally asking for the adaptation your body is ready to give. The first thing I look at is stress type. For body composition, especially once you've trained for a while, I don't just look at whether a program is hard. I look at what kind of stress it's been repeating. The 2 big categories are neuromuscular stress and muscular stress. Now, neuromuscular stress usually comes from lower rep, heavier loading, especially when you're pushing close to failure often. Think heavy 5 to 7 rep work, heavy top sets, powerlifting style sessions, longer rests, and the kind of set where your nervous system has to organize a lot of force. You may not feel sore from that style of training, which is why it gets misread. You can feel flat, tired, less motivated to train, more irritable, heavier in your body, and like every hard set costs more than it used to. Muscular stress is more local to the tissue. Higher reps, more sets, more exercises, supersets, shorter rests, more pump, more soreness. The muscle itself is doing more repeated work, so the fatigue is easy to feel. That can be useful, but if your body's already carrying a lot of local fatigue, adaptation gets harder. Legs are still sore when the next lower body session comes around. Glutes, hamstrings, quads, shoulders, or back never feel fully fresh. The program looks productive, but recovery capacity is being spent too quickly. This is why rep range by itself is too basic. If someone's been doing heavy lower rep training for months, and her body composition isn't changing, I might move her into 10 to 12 reps. Not because 10 to 12 reps is magic for fat loss, because it changes the stress profile. It reduces the neuromuscular load, creates more muscular work, improving training output, and can let things like sleep, recovery, and training motivation come back. On the other side, if someone's been buried in 10 to 15 reps, lots of sets, and constant muscle soreness, I might pull her into like 6 to 8 or 8 to 10 reps on the main work. Again, strength isn't magic, it's just stress sequencing. The program should create the stress she's most ready to adapt to while reducing the stress that's currently limiting her. That's the part that's hard to see when you're the one living the week. If work's intense, training's intense, and your calendar's intense, everything feels like effort. A coach has to look at your category of stress and the recovery costs behind it. The next thing I look at is body type tendency. Now, I don't use ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph as fixed boxes. Nobody fits one label perfectly. Training history, nutrition, body fat, stress, and lifestyle all matter. But those tendencies can still help decide the first move in a program. An ectomorph leaning woman is usually naturally leaner, carries less total mass, and can fatigue quite quickly when the program pushes too much volume. If she keeps adding output, steps, and restriction, she might stay small without building the shape she wants. For her, the question is, how do we get enough effective sets without wasting recovery? She might need more specific exercise selection, stronger execution, enough food support, and enough rep ranges that let her progress load without burying her in stress. An endomorph leaning woman usually carries more body fat more easily and may respond well to more total muscular work. I'm talking about higher reps, like 10 to 12, 12 to 15, sometimes even up to 15 to 20 reps. In the right exercises can create the output and glycogen depletion that helps body composition move. But that doesn't mean higher reps everywhere. If her current stress is already high, more reps can just flatten her out as well. She might need lower reps early in the session, then higher reps later, so the program creates output without crushing her performance. Now, a mesomorph leaning woman often responds well to both strength and hypertrophy, which means the sequencing of the programs matter. She might need a 10 to 12 rep baseline phase first to improve her fitness and create visible change. Then the second program could be like 6 to 8 or 8 to 10 reps to improve her strength while reducing muscular stress. Then her third program might be high density work once capacity has improved. Same goal, different first move. Two women can both want fat loss and shape. One needs more muscular stress because her current program isn't giving enough output. One needs less muscular stress because she's already living in volume and not recovering from it. The goal label looks the same. The details change the decision. The next thing I look at is weekly set dose. I want to know how many hard sets you're doing per muscle group across the week, especially for areas where you want to see change. Glutes, hamstrings, quads, back, shoulders, whatever is relevant to the result. There's a big difference between maintaining a muscle group and asking for it to change. If you're sitting around 8 to 10 hard sets per week for a muscle group, training 3 to 5 times per week, and nothing is moved for months, the dose might be simply too low for the adaptation you want. Moving towards 12 to 15 quality sets can change training density, improve your work capacity, and create enough muscular demand for your body composition to shift. The research gives that a useful boundary. In Stonefield's 2017 review, higher weekly training volume generally meant more muscle growth. So an underdosed muscle may need more quality work before it changes. The part people miss is the limit. Once recovery is the bottleneck, extra sets stop being the smart move. But that only helps if the extra work is still recoverable. If you're already doing 18 to 20 hard sets for a muscle group and you're not changing, more volume is usually just more cost. The better move may be to reduce volume, clean up your execution, bring performance back, and let soreness settle. Body recomposition gets misunderstood here. You need enough stress to adapt, but more stress isn't always better. Progress comes from knowing when to push the dose and when to pull it back. A stored result can mean the program is underdosed. It can also mean the program is overcosting recovery. Those two situations can look similar on the outside. The decision is completely different. Now, Yola is a good example. She works in marketing, trained 3 to 4 times per week, and was stuck. The answer wasn't to find one perfect fat loss program. It was to build the right ongoing sequence. We started with a baseline phase around 10 to 12 reps. That improved the fitness, created more muscular output, and helped get her body fat percentage moving. The following phase moved her into lower rep work, around 6 to 8 and 8 to 10, so she could build strength without adding more volume. Once she was ready for it, reps came back up to 10 to 12 and 12 to 15 with more density and more complicated structures. After a high volume stretch, a 5x5 style strength phase made sense because we could strip back fatigue and push the load again. That's a very different way of thinking from, I want fat loss, so I need a fat loss program. Yola lost around 8 kilograms in her first 3 months and around 17 kilos overall because the program kept changing based on what her body was ready to respond to. The previous phase prepared the next one. The next one didn't just repeat the same stress in a new layer. The same principle shows up in periodization research. A 2022 review from Cavallo's group found that planned variation in resistance training can improve strength outcomes. For body composition, that strength matters because it gives the next phase more useful options, more load, more density, more output? That's the question I want you to ask. What did your last program prepare your body for? If it built strength, maybe the next phase can use that strength for more volume. If it built capacity, maybe that next phase can push density. If it created too much fatigue, maybe the next phase needs to pull back and restore performance before asking for more. So if you're asking what program you should be on right now, don't start with the goal alone. Start with what your current training, recovery, and body composition are showing us. What type of stress has your current training repeated? Are you closer to an ectomorph, mesomorph, or endomorph tendency body type right now? How many hard sets are you doing for the muscles you want to actually change? What did your last program build? And what should your next one use? Once you can answer those questions, the program decision becomes a lot clearer. You're no longer choosing between strength, hypertrophy, higher reps, or more volume like they're random options. You're choosing the next stress your body is most likely to adapt to. That matters because the program doesn't always feel obviously wrong. It can feel disciplined, it can look well written. It can give you enough soreness to feel like something should be happening, while your body composition quietly stays the same. Inside the Body Standard Coaching, Holly and I make that program decision with you instead of leaving you to guess from another template. We read your training history, current stress, body type tendency, weekly dose, and the result your last program created. Holly's my senior coach and sports nutritionist, so the training and nutrition are built together. Then your check-ins, performance, and phase progressions tell us what should happen next. If you want your next program built from that level of context, the link to get started is in the description. I'll see you in the next one.